Hi, welcome back to the channel. See, this update where I bring for you, sincerely speaking, you don't want to miss it at all. Just sit back and relax. Remember the viral story of Miss Comfort Emmanson? The lady some people even started calling Kwam too. After that embarrassing incident with IBOM AIR, well, Comfort don't come out to finally share her own side of the story. And sincerely speaking, this is one of the reasons why it is always important to hear from the both sides before jumping into conclusions. See, I'm not even capping. In this video, you will hear directly from the horse's mouth. Because shortly after the incident, a lot of people have been dragging this particular young girl left and right, as in the wala too much. But right now, she is clearing the air and addressing all the allegations surrounding her.
I can never go and poke an elderly woman, somebody that's old enough to be my mom, poke her. For what? Poke her. It was the pain she inflicted on me, the frontal pain, dragging my gold and everything on the floor. That was the anger. I was so angry. I could not even hold it. That was why I was asking her, why did you do that on the video, the trending video they posted? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? I asked her, why did you do? Because you dragging my frontal wig and dragging me, calling me a prostitute at the process. No, I just had to ask her, why did you do that? Why did you do that? That was why I poked her on the video. Why did you do that? So while on that, the whole thing, those guys came inside the aircraft and started surrounding me, and I was like, why? Now dragged me outside. That was when they dragging me from there. You saw how they dragged me from the video. That was what happened. They came inside, dragged me outside, and then at the process, she now dragged my clothes, and the clothes, it was pin on me because it was pin. I thought that was my inner. It was pin on me. The pain of dragging it, and it's pain.
According to this eyewitness, who is a lawyer, he said Miss Comfort does not know how to operate iPhone. And after the staff has reached out to her that switch off your phone, and she has explained what is really going on with her phone, that her power button is not okay. In fact, she reached out to the staff that he should assist her. But instead of assisting Comfort Emmanson, one of the staffs, the air hostess, was just, insulting her during the entire flight. That was what the eyewitness, who is a lawyer, said in an interview. That was what led to the whole misunderstanding, and you can imagine how far this matter don't go. As for Comfort's father, the man is such a funny character. You won't believe this man was saying that he deserves to be compensated because his daughter's right was clearly violated. It is, but take a listen to what Dr. Ruben Abati had to say.
Well, I think it's a good thing that she's going through the process of healing. Apparently, she was traumatized by that experience. Over the weekend, there was a report that somebody had gone to file a suit on her behalf and all that. But she said no, she did not. That person is not a lawyer. She has her own lawyer. And if she is going to take any steps, it will be a particular lawyer whom she named. Second, she said, well, she's willing to cooperate with the investigators to present properly our own side of the story. But definitely, she deserves all the support she's getting, not the ones offering land and all that, but those who have expressed concern about the violation of our fundamental human rights. And I hope that the regulatory authorities involved in this matter would be encouraged to conclude the investigations that they say they are carrying out. This shouldn't just stop at the level of drama. We would like to know what the regulatory authorities come up with at the end of the day and what the definite conclusions are, particularly with regard to the Kwam incident and Ms. Comfort Emmanson's case. Because initially there was a lot of drama. The Minister of Aviation took a number of decisions just to ensure that there is no confusion around the space that is leading. But there are issues that will still have to be resolved, particularly the one about training sessions for airline personnel, which the minister referred to, and then the investigation by the parties involved. Now, as for the stigmatization, well, that's very unfortunate, but I think Ms. Emmanson should not take that as some kind of major negative thing, because in fact, if anything, this particular incident turned her into, a hero of sorts. Well, a lot of people now saying, look, this is how these airlines behave. This is how some hostesses behave. And, I've seen a lot of people showing affection. I'm not talking about the men who are offering hotel accommodation and trips to Doha and Qatar, the objectives of which may be suspicious. But I'm talking about, genuine expression of concern. So I do not think that she has suffered any loss of face within the community. If anything, she has become a celebrity in spite of herself. There was one other thing that I read, however, that I found a bit uncomfortable. This was the father, granting an interview and saying that he too must be compensated. That is it because he's a poor man that they will expose their daughter's nudity in public, and that they should not treat poor people like that, and that he should be compensated because of the way they have treated his daughter. I want to believe that he was misquoted. So if he was not misquoted, please, he should just keep his peace. Allow the daughter and other people to deal with the issues. This has nothing to do with his own poverty. That's not the subject here. And we should not, drop the ball in terms of focus.
Again, this is a serious reminder why we must always hear from both parties before we make our own decision or before we jump into conclusions. It is very, very important. As soon as I saw the update, I knew I had to bring it here because a lot of people have been following the story right from K1 incident to Miss Comfort Emmanson's case. Unfortunately, the damage has been done. It is such a pity. But the conversation continues. Even Rufai Oseni had to say something about it. Take a listen.
I'd like to say some things. See, and I'm happy that we took our time to hear all sides of the story. Because it's so easy for people to use propaganda to deceive people in society. The airline originally did use propaganda by posting one side of the story. It's turned out, or whoever posted, because the airline has denied that they didn't post it. But whoever posted it, which was a video taken around where the airline hostess and the airline crew had a higher level of influence and made it public, they used propaganda to deceive a lot of people. It was one side of the story they told with this. But if not for the fact that they sent her to jail and there were a lot of people that reacted, or they sent her to prison for a bit and a lot of people reacted, and we started to hear other sides of the story, they will not get to the end of the matter. In fact, even before she said this, several witnesses on the flight have corroborated her story by saying that when the air hostess did come to her and say, turn off, she said, what is it called? Our buttons are not working fine on the phone. And she even told the air hostess, can you help me do it? And the air hostess got rude. And after the flight, when they arrived at their destination, before they alighted, she went to the bathroom and all of this ensued. And we all saw how that air hostess stood in front of the door. So, like I said before, IBOM Air will have to put that air hostess up for investigation. I still feel to a large extent that she should sue because it was a deliberate attempt to shame her. There was no reason why their hands went to her breast in the first place, why they pulled out her inner. It was a deliberate attempt to shame her. And after doing that, disgraced her, put her breast in public, they now filmed the only part that showed where she was reacting. You cannot hit me and expect me not to react.
This is early morning tea.
I'm sorry.
Mammary glands.
Mammary glands, whatever.
Vital assets.
Whatever, vital assets. No, let's say it the way it is. Because it's very painful. You cannot hit me and expect me not to react. After they had hit her, they have provoked her within not only her assets, they even went further with her wig, because as at the time she was fighting back, her wig was already pulled off.
Right.
So they had triggered her within. The air hostess had done her job. Then she called for cover and started filming. and you pulled her down and you hurt her. So IBOM AIR, I still feel this case was taken up. This is not to exonerate the fact that she also did slap the air hostess. But as at the time where the air hostess is saying, you are slapping me, you had instigated the fight. And you had treated her in a very appalling way. And now you were quick to say, you are slapping me, so that you look vindicated. She too must be penalized for that slap. But you can't trigger somebody without getting away with it. This is not fair.
For that slap, if she was provoked, I don't know what you say about that. If you,
Okay,
yes, because if she was provoked and it was in self-defense, then she has a case. Because if you're slapping somebody, if somebody had done that to you and you retaliated in self-defense, that's something totally different. But I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to speak about this because I've been following, this story since it started. And of course, let me speak as, someone who's impartial and also as a woman, because I know that a lot of people go through this. It's the culture of shame and humiliation. When you do something wrong, the first thing they want to do is to attack your person. First of all, she was called a prostitute, so it's a very easy insult for a lot of Nigerian women. You do something, you say you don't want to buy something from a vendor anymore, they say, Ashawo, get out. You say you don't want to do something, Ashawo. In fact, after a while, it becomes almost a compliment. So it's a culture of shame and humiliation that must end as part of our culture here in Nigeria. And then the second part is that I think we should stop comparing her and calling her Kwam too. Because the situations now that she has come out to express herself are vastly different. In one instance, he was resisting doing what was right in terms of aviation security. In this instance, she wasn't. She asked for help, and it was the high-handedness of the air hostess that brought her to this situation. So it wasn't like she was resisting. She's not Kwam too. It was just a situation that was badly managed because of the cultural thing of older, younger, who are you to talk to me, who are you not to talk to me. I agree that there should be a customer service training for all airport staff, because it's not just IBOM AIR. A lot of people who have traveled either locally or even sometimes even internationally, depending on the flight you take, want to see how we are treated. You pay money to be humiliated. That is really sad as a nation. Now, going to the fact as to whether or not her face, she's saved face, or the exposure of her personal assets, on whether or not she's received a lot of compensation does not hold water. If you were me, and you give me $100 million or whatever, but you expose me in such a manner, there's no amount of compensation for that. To say that, because I'm now famous, it's embarrassing. That's not the kind of fame that I want. It's embarrassing. And like she mentioned in the video that she released, it's beyond now, it's her future. The internet never forgets. Yeah. Her children will Google her name and see. Her children's friends in school will mock her children potentially for this. How do you pay money for this kind of thing? So it's a culture that must be addressed, and also a culture that must change. How do we change this systematically? How can we report this? And that is why there must be punishment for everyone involved, not just the air hostess, but every single person who was there and did nothing that was an official. The people who yanked her off the flight and carried her and manhandled her ought to be brought to book. We can see their faces in the video. And then finally, I would like to land on this point, because enough people have talked about this. Why is it that as a people, we don't know how to protect ourselves? How many others were on that flight and saw what was meted out to that woman and did nothing and just walked past? It's like the story of the Samaritan. Nigerians will just look and walk past. If you are being slapped by somebody that is wrong, why do we have that culture? So it's to sensitize people on different levels. But just to say that IBOM AIR has a case to answer. I'm glad she's spoken out, and that we must find a way to change the culture of the way we see customers and how we treat ourselves as people in this nation. We're too angry, and there's a lot of lawlessness that goes by without people doing anything.
Just a footnote. The people who should be punished because you recommended a list, add to that list all the men who looked at that video twice, thrice. Some looked at it 10 times. They too must be identified.
I agree.
And punished.
Even the men. Even the men that shared it on many WhatsApp groups.
Yes.
Everybody.
All the men that looked at it more than once, they are all guilty.
They're all guilty.
A poor girl, turn her into
Can you imagine?
No, it's
so sad.
Okay.
Well, as you can see, this Miss Comfort Emmanson case, no be small thing at all. I mean, the fact that, a lot of people don't know about this story, people don't react to it massively. I mean, right now, you could imagine what she was saying, that she even feared to go out because people don't see her as this bad girl. This is why we always say, don't judge from one angle. Never hear from both sides. No rush talk. Even now, the lawyer who sits close to her said it could have been handled better. But the good news is all charges are dropped. She don't regain freedom. In fact, she has been appointed as SSA to Delta State Governor. Now imagine, from humiliation to elevation. God, they truly work. Until now, we have been hearing that the minister, according to the minister, AON, they are planning to make her and Kwam one as their ambassadors. Although the news is not sure yet. All I know is this: Nigeria know they ever done. I mean, different stories, new twists every single day. Now, I want to hear from you. Seriously, I love reading comments. In the comments, let me know what you think about this whole situation, Miss Comfort character, the way IBOM AIR handled it, and the way our authorities rushed, from the plane, they took her to Kirikiri. I mean, giving her life ban. Let me know what you think about everything in the comments. And in case there's anything you don't like about this update too, or you feel like I need to work on better, I beg, feel free to drop them to negative, positive. I will make sure I do justice to it. And before you go, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell to be part of this community. And I get so many contents where I want to share with you, and trust me, you won't be disappointed. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.